What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of what actually is happening with Lucid. Go over some of the data points, what shorts are doing, everything else that you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 0.67%. It did have a lot of good momentum, as you can tell based on this spike. First thing, did have a high of $7.75, even though there is a little bit lower for volume. So 35 million shares being traded, 50 is the average. So that's something that you need to note, is just the fact that big money isn't necessarily getting in. So these are all the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market over $100,000. So the frequency is just not there, of course. When it comes down to dark pool, this one surprised me. There's only one transaction for today on the dark pool, and normally the dark pool is like a damn Christmas tree. It's like absolutely crazy, because this is very much linked to shorting. So I'll give you guys a good overview of that. But at the time of doing this video, there is no SEC filings, no press releases, nothing along those lines. So in my opinion, what did come out and happen first thing in the morning was a kind of a small squeeze, because there was a lot of good companies that was unveiling their Q2 earnings today and was fairly good. So I think there's a underlying kind of a consensus that the bear market is starting to end and that we are about to start a expansionary stage of the economy. So I think this is what prompted a little bit more of a squeeze. And of course, when there is a company such as aka Citadel, for instance, that obviously a lot of people like to correlate with shorting, when they are losing money, they usually do it on a market kind of level as well. So they close out a lot of positions across the board. So I think this is exactly what did happen with Lucid. Not saying it's Citadel in particular, but again, I think this is pretty much what happened. And I'll give you guys a good overview of what shorts are doing. So right now, shorts are returning 881.98 thousand shares, and currently there is 21.61% of the free floats being shorted. 176.72 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is just very, very low, so 1.59%. That's the average. But I just want to draw your attention to here. So as you can see on the teal solid line, at obviously this is all GMT time, but basically first thing in the morning there was that squeeze. So a lot of shorts were returning some shares, which caused this to happen. And then if you look at the borrowed shares right here, the 15 minutes after that, which coincides with this, they increase. So basically shorts caused all of this kind of movement here. So again, that's a positive sign, negative sign. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination, because I am not a financial advisor. When it comes down to options activities, so this is a little bit more evenly divided. So there is $4.54 million in calls being purchased versus $4.76 million in puts. So like I mentioned, kind of evenly divided. In fact, it's 52% more bearish overall based on the options activity. If you are optimistic and bullish on Lucid, for instance, these are all the calls. So it has all the strike prices, expiry dates, everything that you need to know. Based on this upcoming Friday, it is anticipated to go between that $7 and $8 range, and similarly around the $7.50 to $8.50 for the following week, because of course their earnings is on August the 7th, so August 11th will be the latest or the next Friday for the options activity based on that. So let me know you guys' viewpoint on that. When it comes down to as far as the upcoming Q2 earnings on the 7th, like I said, some bullishness has actually happened over the last little bit. So of course, looking right here, there was previously 5, now there is 8 analysts that gave estimates for the earnings per share. Previously it was negative 38 cents, now it is negative 34 cents. So a little bit more bullishness there. And as far as revenue, there was 5 analysts, now currently 7, with a consensus of 184.84 million, whereas it previously was 207.98. So that aspect is a little bit more bearish, but of course that is linked to the number of vehicles that they did actually produce and deliver. So as I've brought up in the past, so they did actually do 2,173 vehicles in Q2 and only delivered 1,404. And that also is going to be one thing that they do bring up, hopefully at least, is why this is very low. I do estimate that most likely they did a lot of international deliveries, just not necessarily to the customer. So I think this is why this didn't really get the check mark it did require. But when it comes down to it, this came out, looks like yesterday. So it looks like the Air Tour is in Germany for test drive. So that's a fairly good thing, in my opinion. And based on Lucid's website, if I remember correctly, popping over to here, I'll just pull this up. They do have the tour that is going to Germany. I said this wrong last time. Some of you guys corrected me, so my apologies. Dusseldorf, if I'm saying that right, but that's between August the 14th and the 18th. So I think a lot of these international tours are going to be very, very good because the demand is very much there, like I've brought up in the past. But looking right here, as far as some indicators that I like to look at, number of retail investors have been getting out today. So it kind of looks like both retail and institutions are taking a step back, which is why most likely there is a little bit lower volume. Stochastic is currently at 46, a little bit more neutral in that regard, but a bullish sentiment is starting to form. So black line above the red. And when it comes down to what is coming next, so with it being at $7.53, it is currently between this R1 and the R2, right below this very strong resistance level. So if it can get above that, then $8.23 is the next point to watch for, which I do feel, oddly enough, is kind of matching what the options are saying. And so I do feel going into the upcoming Q2 earnings, it might actually be around the $8 range. But in my own personal opinion, but like I said already, I'm not a financial advisor, I do feel the earnings per share is actually going to be lower than the analyst expectations, and the revenue might be in line with the current estimate, so 184 million. But that's just my kind of predictions based on these numbers right here, so why I already brought up. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts. Do you think that is going to be around the $8 range going into the Q2 earnings, or do you think it's going to pull back down to around the low 7s or potentially even the 6s? What's your take on all of this? As well, do you think that these tours in Europe are going to do any good? So once again, there's that aspect, because I think in general, one of the biggest things that Lucid has always focused on, so hopefully I'll hear something different for this upcoming earnings, but they've really focused on test drives and just word of mouth for marketing. So it'd be really good to hear that they actually have a budget that they plan on doing some actual, like, I don't know, commercials, something like that. I think it's the Women's World Cup is on right now, so that definitely could be something that they could have capitalized on. But still, it is what it is at this stage. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And take advantage of this promo. It is a complete no-brainer. Free to sign up for a Moomoo account. Also, they do offer $0 commission and free level 2 trading. But if you throw $100 at the account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Plus, you get a $50 cash reward. So it's a win-win. Link in the description below and also the comments. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.